There are three edge cases that I want to show you here that involve backing up certain types of objects in slightly different ways than what we're doing here. The first of these is a VM copy job, which is used to create an independent, fully functioning copy of a virtual machine. This is still different from the replication jobs that we'll talk about in the module coming up next, because this does not involve any ongoing maintenance of the changes between one virtual machine and another. This is used if you want to create a point-in-time snapshot that is fully functioning and can be transferred through some other medium for a virtual machine that you want to use elsewhere. It will use the same Veeam infrastructure components as a traditional backup job, and for the most part, it's useful for replicating virtual machines for things like test labs or during data center migrations. These are single instance jobs that create only full backups. There are no incrementals or restore points. They're designed to be used once and not set up on any kind of schedule, with the target infrastructure added in as a managed server prior to creating the job. And so again, if you have the need to replicate a virtual machine for a test lab or during a data center migration, these VM copy jobs will create that copy of the virtual machine, but will not maintain that copy like a replication job would. VM copy jobs themselves are different still from a file copy job. And what's important here is that we're not talking about the files and folders in the virtual machine, but rather the files and folders that make up the virtual machine. These file copy jobs facilitate the copying of the actual files and folders, including the virtual machine metadata, between backup infrastructure objects. So again, if you need to go from one environment to another, this is one way in which you can copy not only the virtual machine disk files, but also the metadata files as well. This will transfer the infrastructure object files and folders and not the content within your backup. And as before, it will use that same Veeam infrastructure components as your traditional backup job. So you're just leveraging your existing Veeam infrastructure to complete these file copies. I'll show you here both of these here if I minimize this. Let's take a look at actually creating both a file copy and a VM copy job. Right down here, I can right click and choose to create first a VM copy job. I'm not actually going to create either of these, but I will step you through the various pages here in the wizard. For this, if I choose next down here, I can select which virtual machines I want to back up. So again, if I wanted to, for example, back up the file1 machine, I could choose it right here. Once I choose add, this then lets me define which storage repository or which server I want to use for exporting out this virtual machine. This can be either to a repository or to an individual server like right down here. And then do I want to do the usual guest processing like enabling application-aware processing and then whatever schedule I want to apply as well. So again, you can think of this as like a subset of the backup job that we created a second ago. This is designed just if I want to snap off a copy of a virtual machine for some purpose that exists outside of my Veeam infrastructure and probably also my vCenter infrastructure. While I'm here also, let's take a look at that file copy job, which is slightly different from a VM copy job, in that down here, when I choose the source, I not only will choose the virtual machine, but also the files and folders that exist on the data store there as well. So right here would be my DAS repo, for example. There are my backups, and there's my backup job right here. And here are the VBK files and the VVM file associated with that backup job. Again, I'm mostly just here using my existing Veeam infrastructure to manage the transfer to some alternative location. But right here is how I can use that for creating what is termed a file copy job.